2/5 of what I write gets printed. 3/5 nobody ever sees but the artist and the editor. Like I'm doing something wrong.
You're not making out the Dickens well, the page turn word.
Oh, I've made such a mistake. Oh, God.
Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Cassie King.
And I'm Brian Mitchell. Welcome back to another episode of the Christmas Insider.
It's the Skybound Insider.
It's the Holiday Insider.
That's more politically correct.
Okay.
We recently sat down with writer and editor Kelly Sue DeConnick of Image Comics' Pretty Deadly and Bitch Planet. Today we are sitting down with her husband, Matt Fraction.
Matt Fraction writes comic books out in the woods. There's some woods and there's Matt. Where he lives with Kelly Sue, there's Kelly Sue, along with their 2 children, a dog, a cat, a bearded dragon, and a yard full of coyotes and stags, aka deer.
How much time of your workday did you spend drawing those things?
I cannot confirm nor deny that it might have taken me multiple days.
Mr. Matt Fraction himself is a New York Times best-selling obsessor of comics. He's behind some seriously credited books, such as Sex Criminals, the winner of the 2014 Will Eisner Award for Best New Series, the 2014 Harvey Award for Best New Series, and it was named Time Magazine's Best Comic of 2013.
It's a lot of friggin' awards.
That's so many freaking awards. That's a fraction of the awards available in the comic book industry.
Nice throwback to his name.
Gotcha.
He's also made Satellite Sam, Odyssey, and Hawkeye, the winner of the 2014 Will Eisner Award for Best Single Issue. If you're striving to be a creator of comics, listen up, because this man is someone you should be following.
But not home, just on the internet. Hey guys, I'm here with Matt Fraction, writer, comic book extraordinaire. We're gonna talk to you.
Oh my God, there's cameras up in here.
We didn't tell him until now.
Hi.
Talking about Matt and his life. Hi, Matt.
Hi.
Thanks for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, now that we've gotten the niceties out.
Great. Can I swear?
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
great.
Like, encouraged.
No, it's gonna happen.
For sure. I appreciate asking. We're going to start general because that's the worst way to start.
Shit.
Great. I'm glad that the swearing.
Ass. I'm not actually gonna use any other words, just swear words.
Oh,
It's just gonna be a torrent of obscenity.
Tell me about your childhood and how you started in comics.
Oh, my childhood sucked. In my day, paper used to be connected by a little perforated, it was a seesaw, an endless thing. It was dot matrix printed, the things you tore off the side. But I would tear off the one, my mom would bring home reams of dot matrix paper from her work, and I would separate them all and then just tear one side off of the dots, and then I would use yarn and bind, like sew together pages, and I would make and give them out to my friends and stuff. That's technically, I guess, my start in comics. Then I went to art school. I became I went an art student and was a film student in animation, and kind of did that whole journey. And I got to the Kansas City Art Institute, and it's funny. I told the story at Dragon Con last week because that's really what you should do: is 2 conventions just
back to back.
5 days apart.
Yes,
it's gonna be great.
Don't give yourself time off.
Fuck that. Jim Mahfood and a group of artists at the Kansas City Art Institute were like self-publishing comics, and right when I got to town, this kind of whole spirit of fuck everybody, we're just gonna make our own comics kind of thing hit me really hard. And I've made some stuff in school before, but something about seeing it and having it put in front of me is like, oh, we just made this. I was like, you know what, it's time to start. And that was kind of where I started writing in notebooks that nobody ever saw, just kind of trying to learn craft.
Which comics were most formative for you?
11 Rockets was and remains formative. Gilbert and Jaime Hernandez, I think, are wildly unsung. I think Bill Sienkiewicz and Howard Chaykin, like I said, I was an art kid, so like crazy art really, really drove me. But Sienkiewicz and Chaykin and Howard's sense of design, something about the way that Howard designs his pages and wrote for himself as an artist. There's some kind of internal tempo that Howard follows that I hear very easily, which is maybe the craziest fucking thing I've ever said. But like, it's true. There's something about Howard's work that like, you know, like you hear a band and you're like, oh fuck, this is my jam. Like,
yeah.
I loved Lone Wolf and Cub, first comics reprinting Lone Wolf and Cub, which is unlike anything I'd ever seen.
I want to talk about collaboration.
Okay.
And collaborative arts.
Okay.
Because it sounds like you have an art background where you were already really building how to work collaboratively with other artists from a younger age.
Yeah.
So now obviously in Sex
anyway.
Criminals you have Chip, who is, I mean, most people describe it as like the other part of their brain. What is that process like for you? Do you really feel like you have a team of collaborators in your
Oh yeah. I feel like I have conspirators, co-conspirators. I get to write for people whose work I adore, and as a fan, I get to try to write the ultimate whomever book. Like as a fan of Chips, what do I want to see? What do I want to read? You know, so there's that part of just the consumer part of my mind, but then there's the then kind of competitive part that like, all right, I'm going to write the best for whomever that I possibly can. I'm going to try to make you look as good as I can, and that's like a challenge, and it becomes a thing where I try my best to write to what I love about them and what I've been fortunate enough to be partnered with. You know, it's the best part, and it takes a while to figure it out. Like there's a kind of getting to know you phase. It's a lot like dating. You know, it's sort of you give it a shot, and after a while, you find a rhythm. You know,
comic books. Was that the first creative expression, like in form of writing, like the first scripts that you did professionally?
I used to work in advertising and like directed music videos and would write ads and direct and stuff like that.
What was that like?
It was cool because while I was doing that, I was kind of making my first professional stabs at writing for comics, and it gave me the freedom to say no because it had a really creatively satisfying day job, and comics were just what I wanted to do when I didn't have a client. You know, I just want to go home and I want to do something and relax and not have to think about cuts or edits or budgets. I'm just going to make stuff up and have a good time. Like it was a therapeutic, but I didn't need it, you know? So I could say no to things that I didn't want to do that I thought I would do poorly. I think a lot of people in comics have a kind of hunger, like a sort of freelance hunger, and like you're never going to say no to a job because the phone might stop ringing. And I think that's a surefire way to really diluting your work. It gave me the power to say no and the kind of the confidence to just produce work I wanted to produce.
How do you approach representation and prioritize it coming from the point of view of somebody who is like a white dude in comics?
I try to listen. I try to shut the fuck up. And I try to, I think writing's an act of empathy. I think writing's an act of communion with people. I'm not very good at that. You know, it's a solitary gig. Like there's a reason that the crazy man in the cave lives alone in a cave, right? Like that shaman state isn't good at parties.
The Fracty Man himself and his Portland-based family has a lot of creativity to share with the world. Matt and Kelly Sue are working on some television adaptations of their very own comics, an original pilot, and they have so much more comic book story making to do. This duo is a powerhouse you haven't seen the last of yet.
So be sure to go follow their social media for news on their work, and go to image.com today and order some of their books. You won't regret it.
Go ahead and like this video, comment below with your favorite book of Matt Fractions, and from all of us here at Skybound, happy holidays!
Have a good one. Like,